In this session, we're going to configure LLDP on our Arista switches. To enable LLDP globally, we enter config, enter, and then LLDP space run and enter. When LLDP is enabled on an Arista switch, it is enabled on all interfaces by default. Some deployments require an element of security to limit the use of LLDP. In that case, you can use the LLDP transmit and or LLDP receive commands to enable or disable LLDP's behavior on an individual interface basis. The LLDP timer command is a global command that specifies the time in seconds between LLDP updates transmitted by the switch. If we type LLDP space timer space question mark, we can see our transmission period in seconds with a range of 5 to 32,768. So if we change that to 120 and hit enter, we can issue the command show LLDP, enter, and see that our LLDP transmit interval is now 120 seconds. To go back to LLDP's default timer of 30 seconds, you can simply enter the no LLDP timer and then the seconds command. Up arrow, Control A, type no LLDP space timer space 120, enter, and now reissue the show LLDP command, enter, and we can see that our LLDP transmit interval is back to 30 seconds. There is also the global LLDP hold time command. This command configures the amount of time a receiving device should retain the information sent by the neighboring LLDP devices. So if we type LLDP hold time, one word, space, question mark, we can see we have a valid range in seconds between 10 and 65,535. So if we type in 180 and hit enter, and then type show LLDP as our verification step and hit enter, we can see in the second line of the output that the LLDP transmit hold time is now 180 seconds. To reset the LLDP hold time back to the default of 120 seconds, we can simply up arrow, Control A, and issue a no in front of the LLDP hold time 180, hit enter, and then reissue the show LLDP command for verification and hit enter. And we can see on the second line of the output that our LLDP transmit hold time is now back to 120 seconds. Operationally, if you needed to clear the LLDP counters, you simply use the clear LLDP counters command. Clear space LLDP space counters and hit enter. You can also clear all the neighbor information if you want to force LLDP to rebuild the table. You could do so by issuing the clear LLDP table command and hitting enter. To see LLDP information, issue the show LLDP command, enter. This is where we get our transmit interval of 30 seconds, our transmit hold time of 120 seconds, and we could see for each one of our interfaces that are operationally up and with LLDP enabled, we can see our transmit enabled as well as our receive enabled. You can specify just a single interface. So we could type show LLDP space Ethernet 1, enter. And here we have information just specific to Ethernet 1, where we see on the Ethernet 1 port we have transmit enabled and received enabled. You can see a full list of neighbors with the show LLDP neighbors command, enter. And here you can see last time our LLDP table changed, the number of table inserts. So we have 22 neighbors currently. And we can see where those neighbors are relative to the interfaces that we see them on. So Ethernet 1, for instance, sees our Li4, Ethernet 2 sees our spine 1, Ethernet 3 sees our spine 2. And if you really want to dig into LLDP information, you can also use the show LLDP space traffic command and hit enter. Here you'll get the number of transmit frames and receive frames and any associated errors on a per interface basis. You can also issue the command show LLDP space local-info space Ethernet 1, enter. And here we can see the information that we are providing to our neighbors: our MAC address, our system name, our system description and capabilities, as well as our management interface and our maximum frame size settings, or our jumbo frames. As you can see, LLDP can be very useful, from just verifying that you're seeing packets between two switches to gleaning information from routers, switches, hosts, and even virtual devices if they have LLDP enabled.